Good afternoon. Today we talk a little bit about the data lifecycle and its different stages. It is often the case that companies do not yet classify or check the quality of the data they collect at the collection stage. As a result, it is not possible to manage appropriate data management lifecycles when it is not known what the data is, where it should be managed, and what things can even be done about the data. Examples of these are situations where a company's information systems or data warehouses contain data up to decades old that is stored for security because it is not known if the data is valuable, where it may be used, or where it may be used. On the other hand, companies may currently have data subject to some regulation without knowing for what purpose it may be used and under what conditions. A third very common situation is that a company has a legal obligation to retain certain data for a certain period of time, but in practice it is not known whether the data will even be usable if there were legal obligations to display it. For these and numerous other reasons, it is vital that data governance models be adopted in data-driven organizations. Although the unit cost of data storage is constantly falling, the amount of data is still increasing, and as a result, the cost of unmanaged data will explode in the event of an emergency. If you had to migrate your data warehouse with the current amount of data, it will cost you a fraction of what it will cost for data you will generate during next 10 years, if you don't know what data you have, where it is stored and how it is classified. The internet is full of different data lifecycle models, and I will introduce you to one of them here. The model begins with the collect phase, in which data is collected, classified, verified, and transferred to an appropriate location in a suitable data model for storage. That is, not all data should be stored in the same place or managed by the same mechanisms. In the second step, the data is stored according to appropriate rules and management practices. The third stage is the stage of active data utilization, where the data is analyzed and utilized for different usage needs. The fourth stage is the most important stage in the data economy, when data is productized, monetized, enriched, exchanged and sold. Once the active recovery phase is over, the data can be archived to a longer and more affordable, meaning passive, storage based on the storage life defined in the first phase. And the last step is the active deletion of unnecessary or worthless data according to the rules defined in the first step. Each of these stages involves significantly more administrative and technical measures, but often the classification activities of the first stage solve the technical needs of all the other stages at once. Regrettably, due to the non-existent management of the first phase, all data is stored in one place without any control or rules. The data cannot be utilized due to inappropriate data models, it is challenging to sell it, and the data is never deleted. The worst situation, of course, is that you are responsible for the undeleted information, both legally and in terms of cost, and it does not add any value to you. It is therefore worthwhile to involve the company's business decision makers in the classification of data at the level of need, and through that begin to model the life cycle of different data sets. Here's all this time. Thank you again and stay tuned.